Top of the morning to you. This morning there were hundreds of little itty bitty worms crawling all over the run of water on our driveway. My daughter was out. We were going out to the bus. It's the last day of school, all excited. And then catastrophe struck. All these worms, they need to be saved. She's trying to pick up one at a time, and she was taking them over to the soil and digging a little hole and putting them next to it. And I told her, you can just get the hose and you can squirt them all into the grass. They were those beautiful little worms, not the ones you normally want to fish with unless you have really small children. And they were all over the driveway. Currently, I'm working on a talk to share my kingdom vision, my kingdom family leader mastermind of going from blessing yourself to expanding your territory to serving his kingdom to create abundance and impact. And I got to realizing or thinking about, where do we have influence and where do we have awareness? Elizabeth, having breakfast, wasn't aware that there's hundreds of little worms out in the driveway dying, but when they were part of her awareness, she also found they were part of her area of concern. She was concerned about those worms. And for some of them, they were in the area of her impact. And then when the bus came, she looks at Mom, she looks at Dad, and she says, Mom, Dad, you gotta save the worms. It reminds me of the old story of the old man and the starfish. There was an old man walking along the shore. The tide was low or getting low, going out. And then the man noticed a small boy walking and climbing amongst the rocks. And the boy would take a step and he would bend over and he would pick up a starfish and fling it out to sea. And this repeated and repeated, and the old man's watching. And the kid just continues to pick up starfish after starfish after starfish and flings it into the sea. And the old man walks closer, steps over, peeks over the edge, and sees the rocks strewn with starfish as far as he can see. And he says, boy, what are you doing? And the boy looks up and says, old man. He probably didn't say old man. Looks up and says, old man, I'm picking up starfish. What? And the old man says, what are you doing that for? And the boy says, I'm saving them. And the old man says, look down the beach. As far as you can see, you can't save them. It doesn't make any difference. The boy looks up at the old man. He bends down, picks up another fish, and says, it makes a difference for this one. And he hucks it into the sea. That's a great story for the circles that are part of my program, part of anybody's program, part of your life, the circle of awareness, circle of concern, and the circle of influence. And this kid knew that he had influence, awareness, and concern over this starfish right in front of him, and he was doing something about it and with it. Just like Betsy was this morning. She was doing something about those worms, and when she got interrupted, her area of influence moved away by the school bus by the last day of school. Wow, I'm thinking right now, maybe it would have been a moment to have her go late to school. You know, school may be a little bit overrated and off task. But she tried to transfer that awareness. I actually got out the hose and started squirting some of them off the driveway before I came down here to get busy with my day. And my wife picked up the hose after I left, and she threw a few more in there. How can we, as Christians, as fathers, mothers, family leaders, Christian family leaders, kingdom family leaders, learn from the starfish story, learn from Elizabeth's story? Who's right in front of us that we need to serve? Who's right in front of us that we can help, that we can make an impact on, that we can make a difference, that we can create abundance with and for them, that we may be neglecting? Earlier in my path, I always had these grandiose dreams of stage 3, serve his kingdom. Actually, it wasn't serve his kingdom earlier, it was serve myself and how can I be great. But now as I've matured and become a Christian and strengthened that vow, how can I make an impact here? And sometimes it's so grandiose. Oh, I need to change the world instead of changing the starfish, changing the family. Sometimes serve his kingdom means taking care of myself, blessing myself so that I have the skills, abilities, knowledge, space, time, talent, and treasure to serve others and serve them well. Maybe it's serving my family. Maybe it's just serving my kids, serving his kingdom, and my wife. Maybe it's serving something bigger. Maybe there's a business, a church, a community, athletics. Maybe it's bigger than that. State, nation, and the world. But recognizing what we can do, what we have impact over, and how we can change and move that impact. How we can change our circle of what we're aware of and make it bigger. How we can change the most important circle, that overlap of the circle of our influence, into what we're aware of, and then what we're concerned about. So, that's what I got for you today. Think about what you're aware of, what you're concerned about, that you actually have influence over. And let the rest go and take action at that intersection, at the very middle of your awareness, concern, and influence. And change whatever little part of the world God has placed before you. You be blessed and bless others.